Sailors have always been a superstitious group. Even today in this modern time, sailors still like to tell tales of the urban legends that were born at sea. The origin of these tales can be based on the many risks of working as a sailor, a mariner, or a fisherman. Popular tales about the many ghost ships that sailed the vast lonely waters directed by a ghostly crew circulated the globe, becoming a popular tale to be told, and to meet one of these spectral ships was considered a very bad omen. But in reality, a ghost ship is more likely to be nothing more than a ship lost at sea, abandoned by its crew, or washed up along the shores of some lonely beach. One of the most famous ghost ship tales has got to be the one of the Mary Celeste, which in 1872 sailed out from New York with a cargo of poisonous denatured alcohol and a modest crew. Unknown to them, they would never be seen again once they set sail. But before I tell you the darkest mystery of the Mary Celeste, which did happen in 1872, first of all, we need to go back to when the Mary Celeste sailed the waters under a different name. The birth of the Mary Celeste was May the 18th, 1861, when she was first launched into the waters of Nova Scotia and was given the name Amazon. The ship was built from locally felled timber. She had 2 masts and was rigged as a brigantine. She was 99.3 foot in length and 25.5 foot broad, with a depth of 11.7 feet. And it was said that as soon as this ship touched water, that it was plagued with nothing but bad luck. For example, on the ship's first voyage out to sea, it was forced to turn around, as a captain became ill and later died when he reached shore. The ship's second captain would take charge, only to collide with another ship at sea, sinking it in the English Channel. In 1867, the Amazon was forced ashore by a violent storm. She was so badly damaged that she was left there abandoned as a wreck. The ship would be found shortly after and sold to a Mr. Richard W. Haynes, who restored the Amazon and made himself the captain, and then renamed the ship the Mary Celeste. Over the years, the Mary Celeste would have quite a few different owners, and went through quite a few refurbishments and improvements, which added to the ship's overall size. In 1872, the Mary Celeste was given a new captain, Mr. Benjamin Spooner Briggs. Unknown to him, that he would literally sail this ship into the history books. On November the 7th, 1872, Captain Briggs set sail with a cargo of denatured alcohol, his wife, and a 2-year-old daughter, leaving his elder son at home with his grandmother to continue his schooling. He also had a crew of 7 on board, all carefully handpicked and trusted to accompany himself and his wife and his child across the Atlantic to Genoa. On November the 15th, 8 days after the Mary Celeste set sail, another brigantine, the Del Grazia, set sail for Gibraltar and was taking the same general route. On December the 5th around 1 p.m, between the Azores Islands and the coast of Portugal, the Mary Celeste was spotted by the helmsman, who notified the captain that the ship was sailing towards them in an erratic manner. As the Del Grazia grew closer, it became apparent that no one was on board. Nobody could be seen on the deck of the Mary Celeste, and all the captain's signals failed to get a response. The captain of the De Grazia, Captain Morehouse, decided to send 2 crew members over to the Celeste to investigate. The 2 men discovered the ship was deserted, the sails were in poor condition, with some missing, and the rigging was damaged. The main hatch covers were secure, but the fore and the lazarette hatches were open. Their covers were beside them on the deck. A small lifeboat was also missing, along with a compass and other navigational tools that had been removed from their glass casing. 3.5 feet of water was found sloshing around in the ship's hold. A makeshift device for measuring the water level was also found discarded on the deck. The cabin was in good condition, apart from water damage that had occurred due to the doorways and the skylights being left open. The ship's food supplies were still fully stocked, there was plenty of drinking water, and the cargo of the denatured alcohol was untouched. The captain's personal belongings were all still on board, including his sword, which was found under his bed. And also the toys of his 2-year-old daughter were also still on board, and the indent that her body would have made in her bed still remained, and the covers left dishevelled. The captain's logbook was also on board, and the last entry was dated November the 25th, which would have been 9 days earlier. It was a true mystery, No one knew what had occurred on board. The family, the crew, were simply missing. The denatured alcohol was still intact, which ruled out piracy. And the ship seemed to be in good condition, apart from water damage. There was also no signs of any kind of violence that had occurred on board the ship, and it would seem that the captain, his daughter, his wife, and the 7 crew merely vanished into thin air. Captain Morehouse had the Mary Celeste brought back to Gibraltar by halving his crew between the 2 ships, where Captain Morehouse expected a nice share of the combined value of the rescued Mary Celeste under salvage rights. Although, it wouldn't be that simple. You see, upon return to Gibraltar there were many suspicions. No one quite knew what happened to Captain Briggs, his wife, his child and the 7 crew members aboard the Mary Celeste. Suspicion was in the air, and there was quite a few theories floating around as to what actually happened on board. And here are just a few of them. One of the theories is that the Celeste was attacked by Captain Morehouse, killing Captain Briggs, his wife, his child and the crew. It was believed he did all this to claim the salvage reward of the Mary Celeste, including the salvage rights on the unnatured alcohol that would also bring a pretty penny. An investigation was then started, which claimed to find marks on the railings of the ship that suggested it may have been hatchet marks. They also found discoloration to Captain Briggs' sword, which was believed to be blood. All this, among other things, was all revealed to be false. The hatchet marks on the railings of the Mary Celeste were traced back to the ship's construction, and the so-called blood on the sword of Captain Briggs was nothing more than rust. No evidence could be found, but due to the suspicion around the mystery of the Mary Celeste, only a tenth of the salvage money was given. Another theory was that the crew became crazed and violent after drinking the denatured alcohol in the cargo hold. This was deemed very unlikely, as the alcohol resembled nothing more than pure fuel, and would poison anyone who drank it. Some believe there could have been some kind of natural disaster that may have inflicted harm upon the Mary Celeste. A waterspout, like a tornado at sea, may have formed, or a sea quake, which would have caused a fright and caused waterlogging of the ship, causing the crew to abandon out of fear of the ship sinking. But perhaps the most convincing theory, and the most accepted, was that the cargo of denatured alcohol was somehow leaking fumes, making the crew concerned that an explosion was about to happen. Captain Briggs may have ordered everyone to abandon ship temporarily, placing everyone in a lifeboat to be pulled along by the Mary Celeste from the back by a long rope that may have come untied from the ship, leaving the captain, his wife, his 2-year-old daughter and 7 crew members helpless as he watched the Mary Celeste sail into the distance and eventually out of sight, leaving all 10 souls to perish at sea. The Mary Celeste was eventually resold and was put back to work. She was now a very unpopular ship. She was sold at a loss and was not making nearly enough money. In February 1819, the ship had made an emergency stop at the island of St. Helena due to the current captain becoming very ill, and once again dying shortly after on the island. This only fueled the belief that the ship was cursed. The ship once again was sold, and resold, until it became the property of a Gilman C. Parker. In 1884, Parker and a group of shippers filled the Celeste with a cargo that was worthless in value, and lied on the ship's manifest. The ship was then insured for $30,000, which was worth a considerable amount more then, as it is now. On January 3rd, 1885, Parker deliberately ran the ship into a shallow coral reef, completely ripping out the bottom of the Mary Celeste, marking the end of her sailing days, and preventing the curse from going any further. Or did it? You see, although the truth was revealed that Parker had ran the ship to its death to claim off the insurance, the court only made Parker withdraw the insurance claim and pay back what had been paid out. Months later, it was said that one of the accomplices of Parker went mad, another committed suicide, and 3 months later Parker himself died in poverty. Many have come to speculate that because the court did not reach a just verdict, the curse of the Mary Celeste reached out from its watery grave to take its own revenge and claim the souls of the men that wronged it. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the Mary Celeste was a cursed ghost ship? Or was it just a long line of unfortunate circumstances that made the case of the Mary Celeste a fascinating mystery to this very day? I'll see you next time. Take care.